us today. It's an important role that you're going to play. The law provides for a committee to be formed to review the salaries of elected officials. And so let me explain a little bit about the background. The law is very specific about a timeline in the way that we prepare our budgets for each fiscal year. And we're in the midst of a budget process right now. The salaries of elected officials, which are different from just our non-elected employees in the county, although all of our employees have to be done a certain way. So when the budget is proposed, there is a salary that is listed there. And the laws, the local government provides that any elected person can come and, it says, read the salary. Ask a body to consider a different salary than the one that has been proposed. So your job for the day is to be the judge of what the salary is supposed to be of the elected official that is requesting an audience before you today. And it's a little bit awkward because actually I'm the elected official that is asking that you consider raising my salary. So that's a little strange. I'm also the chairman of the committee, but you need to understand that I don't have a vote on this. And even if it were a committee composed of elected officials, which is one option, plus 3 members of the public, I would still be the chairman of that committee, but I would not vote. Here, it's 9 members of the grand jury pool from the preceding year, but I still don't have a vote in this. So it's going to be up to you. All I'm going to do is to track the meeting and just keep us on course and make sure that the public has an opportunity to comment if they'd like to comment, and then the ultimate decision is yours. And I'll tell you right off the bat that what I am asking is that my salary be made equal to the highest compensated county employees in the county. And I'm going to explain to you why I believe it should be that way. If you'll take a look, if you open up the folder, on the first page is an organizational chart. So I need to tell you a little bit about who I am. Some of you may have heard my name before, some of you may not, but I am the county judge. I have been elected by the countywide population to be in this role, and I have been here. This is my 2nd term now. I was asked to come here even longer ago than that. There was an unexpired term, and the commissioners court at that time that had the obligation to fill that role came to me and said, would you consider this position? And I said no. And they asked me again. They asked me about 5 times, and I kept saying, no, I don't think that I would want that job. But for some reason, there was something eventually that was compelling enough, some direction that I felt, maybe I needed to be in this position if that's where they were going with it, and if they were asking me so much to be here. I have been in Ellis County for 28 years. I've basically lived my adult life here. I am vested in this community. I've raised my family here. They've been part of our school systems. They've been part of the community. I've been engaged in the community for years. I started my career here. I started in the prosecutor's office, and I was there. I raised a family in the process too. I was asked to be the county court at law judge in 1996 and served in that role 96, 97. So I'm not unfamiliar with Ellis County, and I'm not unfamiliar with the workings of this community, from Ennis to Midlothian to Maypearl, Milford, Red Oak. I've been part of this community, engaged in it, and working to better it, I think. So this is my home, and I'm not a stranger in here that is coming in to say, I think I need a big Dallas salary to be able to work for the people of Ellis County. But I think that there are some things that when we follow through this organizational part, we get a better understanding of what a county judge does. Most people think of terms judge, and they think someone's going to sit in a courtroom and they're going to hear cases all day long. Just like the cases that if you were selected for the grand jury, you heard some cases and you gave the prosecutor some feedback, and eventually an indictment may have issued and the case goes to trial and you hear things and the judge settles those. The role of county judge is so different. It is that. It has civil jurisdiction, it has criminal jurisdiction. I could hear mental health cases, I could hear mental commitments, I could hear juvenile cases. The jurisdiction is there for the legal side. This job, this position, is a throwback to probably when Texas was the Wild West. And it was so disparate, so far apart, so many different places that the person that was in charge had to do a lot of different things. And it's held over that way. Statutes have refined it a little bit about what it does, but it has legal jurisdiction. I could marry anybody that wanted to get married today. You filled out your license. You had a wine and beer application. I could decide if you were going to get your license to be able to operate. There are magisterial duties that go with it. I could issue warrants. Those are some of the duties on that side of the coin. But when you flip it over, the county judge is the administrator for the entire county. So if you look at your organizational chart, you see the voters at the very top. Those are the people that put me here in office. So I was here for 20 months in an unexpired term by request. I ran in 2010 and was successful. I ran again in 2014 and I was put back here with 3 opponents in a primary race. So I think I've had the support. I've been fortunate to have the support of the general public. And I'm happy to be here in this capacity and working. But let me show you. If you follow the lines, you'll see that the county judge is the chief elected official of the county. Now there are other elected positions on the side of this chart. You'll see the district attorney, the sheriff, the district clerk, county clerk, tax collector, county treasurer. Those are all county-wide elected positions like my own. You also have the justices of the peace and the constables that, like the commissioners on the left side of the chart, are elected by a segment of the population. We get divided into 4 precincts. I don't mean to be basic. Some people know all this, but I think it's important for those that have not had an opportunity to be involved in government or in local government to understand what the Senate is. And if you look at the county courts of law and the district judges, you'll see them on a line parallel with the district attorney and then these other elected positions. But there's only one chief elected officer of the county, and that's me. And if you follow my lines down, you'll see the commissioner's court, and they are primarily the road and bridge officials in their precincts. They handle the roads, but they also come back into court at commissioner's court and take on some policy decisions that I might bring to the court. I'm also the presiding officer of the commissioner's court. So every single policy decision that happens for this county, that happens internally for the departments, the 37, 38 departments that we have in here, and whatever happens on a local level that has an impact countywide, the commissioner's court is responsible for that. But follow across to the county judge's office, and you'll see that I am also responsible for the everyday administration of these departments. Emergency services, information technology, the purchasing agent, indigent healthcare coordinator, communications, building facilities and maintenance, engineering and planning, human resources, county development, the veteran services office, the ag extension to a degree, because they're an organization that is really run through Texas A&M and the state. I'm responsible for boards and commissions and for the fire marshal's office. All of those departments come under my purview. So it's not like a county court, a law judge, a district judge, or any of these elected offices that only have responsibility for one thing, their office. The district judges will hear their cases. They are in charge of the court coordinator and the court reporter. Same with the county courts at all. The sheriff will run another huge job, yes. The sheriff will run his jail and all his deputies on the non-jail side. And the clerks will do their businesses to support the courts in their legal functions. But I have absolutely everything else. Now, it's a team effort, and I'm not saying that I'm filling out everybody's time sheet, I'm doing this, but I have the direct supervision for all of those offices. And that comes with a lot of responsibility, because my job doesn't stop at 5 o'clock, because my cases are finished and that's it for the day. It's time to wrap up. Anything can happen. I'm looking across here at Stephanie Parker, who is a great addition to Ellis County recently, and she helps me. I'm the director of emergency management. She helps coordinate that for me. But let me tell you what that means. That means that at 6 o'clock approximately, on December 26th of last year, we get a tornado that comes through the county. The judges, although I give them credit for the job that they do, we cannot function without them. This community needs them. I think that they should be compensated well for the job they do. But no one else on that list has the responsibility for making emergency management decisions. When that tornado hit, I was at home. It was the day after Christmas. Didn't matter what I was doing, that I had family there. I threw on my clothes, talked with Stephanie. We head to Red Oak, and we open an emergency operations center so that we can quickly get all our first responders in there. We have law enforcement showing up. We have a precinct commissioner that wanted to help and assist with the debris. We had to make the decisions to form an incident command team to make sure that our community was safe. We had to start as a rescue response, make sure that there wasn't anyone trapped. We had to make sure that people could get out without getting hurt with electrical lines down. It is a huge responsibility. I go to sleep with my phone by my bedside, because I am on call 24/7. I've been here in this position almost 8 years, and I've never detached from my phone. Because any problem that occurs, whether it's the tornado, and I have to get hold of the governor's office and ask for a disaster declaration and get resources marshaled so that we can get people down here and we can make people in our community safe, those are the things that I'm charged with. That ultimately stops the healing and the recovery efforts. It's my job to make sure after we've made sure that the community is safe, that we find a way to rebuild. And we do that by working with the state, with the Texas Department of Emergency Management, with the governor's office, to make sure that we get funding back in our area to make the people whole who've lost so much. I go out, I walk among those homes, I talk to those people, not for publicity, but because those are my neighbors. That is 2.5 miles from my house. And there are people I know that lost their homes, and it was my job, not just as a friend, what can I do to help, but it was my job, my responsibility as a county judge to see what I could do for them and to make sure that they got the best relief possible. We do that when we have flooding. We have a dam breach. People are down below it. Homes are there. We've got to make quick decisions. And those are the decisions that I make exclusively as a county judge with the help of experts, with the fire marshal, with an emergency coordinator that makes the call to make sure that things happen in the right order, with law enforcement, with first responders. Those are the kinds of things that I'm responsible for. No one else on this organizational chart has to deal with. We've had flooding, we've had tornadoes. What else have we had? We had a pipeline explosion in Milford in 2013. My day was organized. I had a schedule. When that happened, I head down to Milford, and I spent 3 days in Milford because our citizens were evacuated from their homes. They were displaced, and I had to make sure that we had a coordinated effort to, number one, make sure that they were safe, and number two, to make sure that they were sheltered. I make a deal out of this because this is what community is about. And this is what your county judge is supposed to do. But with it comes a burden. Because, as I said, that's not a decision that anyone else makes. That is exclusively the job of the county judge. And it's exclusively my job to make sure that all of our systems, all of our departments are working together well. I have made an effort to represent all of you. And I don't know whether you voted for me or not, but that's not what's important. What's important is that I recognize my commitment to Ellis County and that I do my job indiscriminately as county judge, whether I had your vote or not. And my job has been to protect the public safety in those large incidents like I'm mentioning and in the small ones, whether it's making sure that law enforcement has vehicles that can drive, that can respond and are in good repair, whether it's making sure that we have our fire marshal in place so that we have community safety out there. We've been responsible for bringing in an excellent fire marshal. He's sitting over there, Chief Birdwell. We started the program back in 2011, appointing the fire marshal, adopting the fire code so we could go and make inspections and make sure that the businesses that are operating in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood, is safe. And that is something that I'm charged with that is different than any other judge or anyone else on the right side of those columns. In order to improve public safety too, I have been a representative for you. I serve not only here at the local level, but I champion our causes, my community's causes, not only the local level, but the regional level, the state level, and the federal level too. Our involvement, I sit on the Transportation Council for the North Central Texas Council of Governments. And all of the mess that you see when you drive into downtown Dallas, all of those highways, all the systems coming together, the construction, that board decides all those transportation projects and how the funding goes. I go to COP and sit on that board as your representative and ask them, bring those roads down here, bring that money. I've worked with our legislators, Representative Pitts, when I started back in 2009, and said, how do we improve Ellis County? How do we make our roads better? What can we do? How do we get our piece of the pie when I'm fighting for Dallas County and Tarrant County and 14 other regions that make up that pie? And with this help, and with the help of others, we're able to secure funding. We recently, I want to give you a figure because it's pretty staggering. From 2007 to 2013, we were able to secure $231 million transportation dollars that were fed back into this county. From 2013 to 2015, we are going to anticipate another $236 million that is coming into Ellis County that will make a difference for this community. And still, for the project to go into into 19 and 20, and then the 2040 mobility program. There will be millions more dollars coming into Ellis County, making Interstate 35 wider, safer, giving us more access to roadways in and out because we are growing. We are growing incredibly. I sit on COG's board, and we were able to secure $650,000 in grant money to improve our radio infrastructure. We've built radio towers, and that's for the safety of law enforcement. That's so that they can communicate with one another. A big push for interoperability. Interoperability, though hard to say, and also hard to achieve, is something that is so critical. When you have an incident, when you have law enforcement responding, you have firemen responding, you want them to be able to talk to each other. We learned that with 9/11, when those that were there to help could not communicate with each other effectively. And there's been a mandate from the federal government that you must make that change. You must make those enhancements. And so I went to COG and I lobbied for $650,000. Yes.
Let me just ask a quick question. Are you compensated separately?
No, I'm not. I have received compensation. So it all is just part of the county judge duty. But that's what I'm saying. The duties extend far beyond the courtroom where I'm there from 9 to 5. It is so diverse. I don't want to do it to you, but we could actually spend hours and I could tell you about county government, but I want to hit some of the highlights of what we've done. As I said, for public safety, we've secured those grants. We've built a radio tower that belongs to us. We have a second radio tower positioned in another part of the county so that communication is enhanced. We have built a law enforcement training center for the sheriff's office. We have multiple projects that we have completed that ensure public safety. We have a juvenile probation supervision center. We have added to the fire marshal's office to increase our ability to inspect. We have had issues in the county before. Systems are getting so vast that it's hard to catalog everyone that is here, and it's hard to inspect. And unless you make a coordinated, concerted effort to do it, you can miss something. And by doing that, you jeopardize the safety of the public. I've raised the salaries of our patrol deputies and our courthouse securities to recognize that they are a first line of defense. They are the ones that are so vulnerable when they go out. So when we're proposing increases for them, I said, no, I want to take the level even higher because they do need to be recognized for the job that they do to protect and serve this community. I've added armored car service to the county. We deal in large sums of money, and to transport those, we have to ensure the safety of our personnel and of the taxpayer dollars, and it might not necessarily be replaced if they're stolen. And I know that sounds something small, but it was a big leap for Ellis County. It was once very rural, and you thought that you could just go to the bank around the corner and carry a few $1 million and it would be okay, but unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. And I don't feel that I could put our employees, our people at risk, or our dollars at risk. And so I pushed and pushed until we got an armored car service here to make those deliveries. It's part of public safety too, the Commissioner's Court. We appoint emergency services districts. Some of the cities, they have their own fire protection, but those that are out in the county, they do not, unless a board is put into place and they have some contracts or contracts with local other fire agencies that will cover them. So it's very important that we make sure that we're putting quality people on these boards to ensure the safety of the community. Also, one of the things that I've worked for is securing $7.4 million for dam repairs. A lot of people don't know it, but these nice little lakes or ponds that some people have in the backs of their properties are not really just decorative water features, but they do serve a purpose. They're for flood control. And the responsibility for them is ours. And so when we were told that you have to do a breach analysis and make sure that those aren't going to be breaching and affecting your communities, We got on board with that, and we got on board with securing funding for it. And we received $7.4 million for Ellis County. So we've got our millions of dollars in road projects. And as I say, that's just not a convenience issue, it becomes a safety issue as well. I've also been responsible for capital improvement projects here in Ellis County. This room that you're sitting in was one of my projects. When I came in 2009, the plans were here, and we started building these buildings. This Justice Center that you're sitting in wasn't here before 2010. But it was such a leap for Ellis County. We have grown so much. If you look at the census, in 2010, we were at 111,000 people. We are now pushing 165,000 people in our county. We've grown tremendously. And as county judge, I oversee the facilities and the capital improvement projects. So in 2009, you would find me either dressed like this, or you might find me in a pair of jeans and work boots, climbing the construction ladders to check out the top of the roof with the engineers, working with the architects and the project managers to make sure that we had a quality building in place. We've grown a lot, and we've done a lot. We've moved, we've progressed. When I started in the DA's office, it was in the historic courthouse, and everybody was just sardine in the top floor. But we've come so far. We went from there to portable buildings while we tried to build a building, and eventually we got this. And I am so proud of this. It makes such a difference in the perception of this community. When I go out into the public, when I go regionally, and I say Ellis County, Ellis County is not a podunk little place anymore. It is a growing, thriving, prosperous community. And one of the things that we've been able to do as a county, and one of the things that has been a huge focus for me, a commitment, is to make sure that we preserve our past. And we've got a beautiful past here. We've got beautiful historic buildings, but that we also prepare for our future. And these are the things that we've done through our capital improvement projects. This building, we also build a sub-courthouse in Ennis to facilitate that side of the county to make it easier, because a lot of, we look at the numbers, and a lot of it comes, our traffic comes from over there. So we try to do things to energize the different communities and to make it more convenient for our community and for the services that we offer. We did a jail expansion, going from 300 beds in an old jail that seriously needed repair to an 859-bed jail that I hope will never reach capacity. We have done a parking garage cooperative with the city of Waxahachie. We said, here's the land, build a garage, let's revitalize our downtown, let's make it possible for employees to work and not take up your courthouse square. They can park their cars here, the public can take advantage of the square and all the shops that it has. So it's a cooperative partnership. I marketed and negotiated a sale for our county buildings that were on Courthouse Square that needed repair. And one of the, I think the most tremendous thing has happened with that. Look at it now. You see, how many are from Waxahachie? Okay. Who's from Ennis? Okay. Ennis, and then we've got Red Oak, and South Italy, Maypearl, Milford. Okay. But if you look at our squares, you see that our downtowns are being revitalized, that they're coming to life again, and that is great for us. It's great for our economy, great for our local businesses, our downtown merchants in these cities. So getting the buildings sold, giving them that to entrepreneurs is something that will, in the end, benefit our entire community. We built an emergency management office. We built an adult supervision office. I have finished out most recently a new courtroom that I petitioned the legislature for a new district court because we needed it, because we're growing, because the ability to swiftly enter into the process, to have your cases heard, whatever kind of case it is, it's important to the people that are involved. And as we grow, we have to accommodate those kinds of things. So that's one of the things that I did. I went to Austin, worked with our legislator, and I said, please help us. We have got to have some relief. We need this created. And petitioned the governor's office, and we received a new district courtroom. And then we finished out the courtroom at a shell that we had, anticipating the growth a few years ago. Was able to do that, was able to do this room, was able to add a storage facility at the county farm. So we have done $70, $80 billion worth of capital improvement projects that are for the benefit of the public in one capacity or another. And the one that I'm really proud of right now, and you'll be able to see it as you go to vote in the upcoming election, is a new elections building. We had been operating out of a leased space that drifts and had a commode that flushed occasionally, and we had a beautiful brand new facility that looks historic because it was an old blacksmith shop, and we kept that flavor that is, let's say, preserving our past, but creating something functional, something new, something that Ellis County can be proud of. In 2010, I navigated the redistricting process for the entire county. When the census hits, so for the 2010 census, the Department of Justice says, you better make sure that your maps and your precincts, your lines are fair. You better not disenfranchise anyone from voting. So we have to I established a committee to help look into that, to make sure that no one was being excluded from their vote counting. And eventually, we got DOJ clearance and approval for our maps. I have tried very hard to bring this county up to the standards that I think our public expects. Tried to work with our elections office upgrades so that when you go to vote, and when you voted and you're waiting for your results, that you're not the last, Ellis County is not the last person anymore to report their voting totals. That it's happening quickly. And we're building for the future too, putting aside money for new elections equipment. Things like that. These are the things that I have to consider because elections falls under my purview. We've also internally done some things in our different departments for better management, updating vehicle policies, not just for the maintenance of the assets itself, but for working with the sheriff's office and other law enforcement officials to talk about the safest way to handle a high-speed chase in the community, what our vehicles will be used for, how they'll be used, those kinds of things, so that we ensure that the public is safer and that we are not wasting our assets. Our purchasing policy, everything that we do as a county government goes through the purchasing office. Every single contract that is handled by the purchasing office, that is approved by the Commissioner's Court, whether it's for maintenance contracts or building contracts or to buy supplies or whatever, eventually, I as the county judge have to sign off. So every facet, anything that the courts want, anything the sheriffs want, the county clerks, all of those departments, they still have to funnel back to the county judge's office. The job is incredibly diverse. Indigent health. We provide indigent health in our community through a contract with Hope Clinic. But one of the things that we're able to do, that we're working for, what is basically a partnership with our local community, is to take those dollars that we apply to Hope, that because of a very complicated system that came down from Obamacare, Texas opted out, and we had a different route to go. But we were able to get federal dollars locally, by working through Hope Clinic, they could take our dollars that we spend in indigent health on those contracts, and Ennis Regional and Baylor Hospital that have a lot of traffic and a lot of costs because of people utilizing an emergency room like a primary care clinic. And we were able to defray some of those uncompensated costs by including them in this program. They administer our contract, and then they would pull down federal dollars to defray some of those costs. We have worked hard, too, to expand our veteran services. Every day in the newspaper, we read about the crisis with veterans. We've expanded our veteran office, and we have an excellent veteran service officer who helps our community vets secure their benefits, to navigate those mazes on how to get help. And it is working. The fact that we have to work so hard to make sure that happens is disappointing. But I'm glad that we have people in place and that this county has recognized that by adding officers, we're able to reach more people. We have hired HR personnel that has brought our county to a new professional level, just like we did with elections. We have navigated and negotiated inmate medical, inmate feeding contracts. That's all part of something that I do. I look at the contracts for technology to make sure that we have the infrastructure for this county, technology improvement, and as I said, every contract bears my signature. The community partnerships that I mentioned are critical. My job as county judge, again, is not just localized and in this building. It spreads across every single community. When the southern part needs infrastructure and they want a grant for a water district, they contact me. And we work through the process, and eventually it goes to the Commissioner's Court, and we approve that and help them do the pass-through. When Red Oak says, you know, we want to attract industry, we want Triumph here, and because it's going to create jobs, we assist with that. I help them with that. Economic development across the board, roads, business, everything that they do, I am here in a support capacity to go and to advocate for them. The list goes on. I don't have enough time to take it all up, but I can say this, that what I have done has been in the best interest of this community. And one of the things that is one of my primary functions, aside from all this other stuff that I do, is that I am the chief budget officer for the county. So every year, I'm tasked with preparing the county budget. This year, $61,840,000 and some change. I brought these because I want to show you. This is one of my books. That's another one. This is the budget for the sheriff and the jail alone. And all of this comes to me, and I synthesize that. And I track it because I'm looking for waste. And we cut waste in many areas. And I think we operate pretty leanly. We have tasked lots of departments with additional duties. They have worked hard. We're just now getting to the point where we're at staffing levels that we're pre-recession. But this takes time. This takes more than the 9 to 5. It is a very, very, very job. And this is one. We could go on and I could tell you about the unfunded mandates or underfunded mandates that I have to work to figure out how we're going to make things work. Or if I have to go and sit on a board somewhere because they've changed our mental health system and the new delivery system, I've got to make sure that Ellis County has qualified mental health providers for the community. And I have to figure out how we pay for that in a revamped system that came with a lack of funding. Those are the kinds of things that the office a county judge does. I champion when I need to champion. When they said to me, you know what, your worker comp premiums the first year I was here are going to go up $300,000. I didn't know better. I ran to Austin to the pool and said, wait, how can you raise those? You don't know me. And he said, well, how would that matter? I said, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to work to make sure that we have a safer work environment so we're not making these claims. And 30 minutes later, he said, you know what? I'm going to give you a pass. And we're going to see, go ahead and do it. And I ran back here and we implemented some risk management programs so that we could reduce our claims. When the local school districts tell me, we do not want a juvenile justice alternative education program that the state says you have to implement as a county. We don't want the county in the school business. Please let us handle our kids alone. And please don't take away our ADA money from us so that we're able to operate at the best capacity. And they said they were handling it. So what do? I drive to Austin. I contact my legislator. I contact my senator. And I said, Ellis County can't do this. Why would we pay $250,000 at least a year, every year, to maybe educate a couple of kids when we know nothing as a county about education? When my school superintendents are saying, please don't do this. So I go and I sit before a Senate committee hearing and testify about what's happening in my district, what's happening locally, and why we don't need to stay. When high-speed rail issue came up, I sit on the Transportation Council in Dallas, I told you that, and they are pushing for the high-speed rail to run from Dallas to Houston, to cut through our farmland, to cut through our homeowners' properties without any benefit to them. And when my people on the eastern side of the county come to me and say, Carol, what can you do to help us? I'm on it. I contact our legislators. I contact our congressmen. We set up meetings. I go to COG. And let me tell you, it's not always fun to sit in a room with more people than probably double the amount of people around the big table. And when the vote goes to say, well, high-speed rail, that's one of our chief projects for the RTC, to raise my hand and say, I respectfully vote no. I said, because you're taking land that doesn't belong to you. You're going to let a private company exercise eminent domain, and that's not right. I am your voice in Austin. At the federal level, when I need Congressman Martin or a senator, I can call, and I will here on a day-to-day basis. So I want you to turn your attention to the next page. And I'd suggest to you that really my position is more like a county manager, more like a city manager or a superintendent. If you look at the third page, the rolling sheet, you'll see a 2016 salary comparison. You will see where my proposed salary, my base salary sits for county judge, and it is $94,835. And I'm not saying that that's not, you know, I was not born with a silver spoon. I worked my way through college. I worked my way through law school. So what I've achieved, I worked for, paid for along the way. So I don't want to minimize that number because that is a decent number. People work hard to make that much money in a year. But go down the list and think about the responsibilities. And I have to point out too that my salary is not the highest salary in the county employee structure. And I think that there's a basic inequity with that. Because if my job a chief elected officer requires those kinds of hours. I'm not out just kissing babies. I'm not at the golf club playing golf or playing tennis. This is a part-time job. This is more than a full-time position. The auditor for Ellis County is base salary. He actually makes more than I make. Look at the finance director. And I bring these as a city. I want you to understand that I really perceive the comparables as being the city leadership within the county. Because the jobs they do, if you look at their organizational charts, are very, very similar to what I would do. And that's the city manager, who's then going to answer to a mayor and to a council, whereas I'm at the top and I answer to the voters. Just take a few minutes to look at those salaries. The subordinate positions in many of the cities are compensated far more than I am. The auditor. The finance director for Ennis is at $96,000. The Red Oak police chief, $100,000. Red Oak assistant city manager, $104,000. Ennis fire chief, $106,000. Ennis police chief, $106,000. The engineer for the city of Waxahachie makes $110,000. The fire chief, $111,000. The finance director, $118,000 for the city of Midlothian. Engineering and utilities, they make $122,000 as the engineer. The police chief in Waxahachie, $131,000 and change. Red Oak city manager, $132,000. Waxahachie fire chief, $135,000. Midlothian assistant city manager. The assistant city manager in Midlothian makes $141,934. Our district judges, they are paid by the state. That's why you see an asterisk there. They are county employees in a sense, but their salaries are not funded by the county. The district attorney is the same way, at $144,200 for their base salaries. They are funded by the state, not by the county. The Ennis city manager, $148,320. The Waxahachie assistant city manager, $149,712. The Ellis County Courts of Law judges, and if you look at the organizational chart, those are the judges that work in courtroom and are responsible for one department. Those gentlemen are the highest compensated county employees at $151,889 base salary. The Midlothian city manager makes $159,650. The Waxahachie Independent School District superintendent, $180,250. Red Oak superintendent, $185,400. Waxahachie city manager, $190,550. And Midlothian ISD superintendent, $216,000. And those are huge amounts. But I give them this, the responsibility to go with these positions is great. And that's what I'm telling you, is that I believe the responsibility that goes with the position of county judge, forget the person, forget that it's Carol Bush, you like Carol Bush, you don't like Carol Bush. The position, for what it is charged with, in responsibility, in duty, in liability, in worry, 94,000 compared to leadership in this community of 216,000. If you turn to the next page, I want you to look at it in terms of the annual budget. The budget for Ellis County, the budget that I work on, $61,840,000 this year. Look at the superintendent for Midlothian. His annual budget, $70 million. Waxahachie city manager, Waxahachie's budget, $33,474,000. Their population, 33,480. Ellis County population, 165,000. follow the lines down, and then get to the Ellis County Court at Law Judge, $151,889. Annual budget, $61 million. So you can see that there is a great disparity. And you'll find me, and you'll find the auditor down at the bottom of the page. Ellis County Auditor, $95,823. Ellis County Judge, $94,835. There is an inequity. There is an imbalance. And the balance isn't just in the comparison with leadership within the community, the school districts, and the city management. It's within this building. It's within this organization. Look at the page before the launch. 2016 county salaries. And yes, you have the one there. It's not in my packet. So can I share with someone? Look right here. Look at the top, and this is just a sampling. At the very top of our organization it's not the county judge, it's not the chief elected officer of the county. It is James Chapman and Jean Calvert, the county courts at law judges for the county. And again, I don't want to take away at all from what they do. I think they deserve that salary. I think you want qualified people in positions to make decisions that are important. But then look, the assistant district attorneys, they made $108,000 and are supplemented. There's the engineer who was making $108,000. The auditor, $95,000. Some more assistant district attorneys. Our community supervisions director, who has the responsibility for one department, and our IT director makes more. So the people that I am supervising.
What's the difference here? This says 2016 county salaries, and this says 2016 salary comparison.
Are a little bit different. One of them has proposed budget factors. There's a 3% cost of living adjustment that is factored in. So the current salary that you're seeing, the $143,000 for Judges Chapman and Calvert, that is their salary today. When the 3% will be factored in with this budget, they will be making $151,889. And sadly, our sheriff, too, at $85,569, well below police chiefs, well below assistant police chiefs, well below fire chiefs, well below assistant fire chiefs. It makes no sense. And this structure is creating a problem for the county, just internally. I've tried really, really hard to staff our positions with people that are qualified. And so I have eked out dollars from the Commissioner's Court to try to give the department heads, the engineers, for quality people, because it makes a difference in how this county operates, who is running those offices. I've tried to raise the salaries. But what's happening is something called salary compression. So you have your managerial, your supervisory positions up here, and you have the bottom coming here, and it's sitting like this. And what's happening is this is happening. And this is how the county judge, the chief elected officer of the entire county, ends up right here. And my department heads, IT, engineering, elections, and the public good. And I don't know about you, but if you work in a position, if you're the fire chief, do you think that you're going to make more than your first year fireman? If you have the responsibility for the police department, do you expect that your rookie officer is going to make more than you? It's a non-sustainable situation, and I've asked that it be remedied, and I'm asking you today to remedy that, because I think that this structure needs to be revamped. Other counties have done it. They do it in different ways. If you look at Tarrant County, what do? They tier their employees, and they say A, B, C employees. A, county judge and judges and district judges and county courts of law. And they say the salary for A's will always be whatever the state district judges are, plus $10,000. So they take care of it. And they tier all of their elected positions that way, so that you don't have a sheriff's deputy that is merely making what the sheriff makes. The structure is skewed. And I would be here on behalf of all the elected officials to say that it needs to be changed, that it needs to be evaluated. But that's not my prerogative. I can only agree my own salary. But I'm hoping that if I do this, that if this inequity, this imbalance is righted, that we'll do the rest. That the Commissioner's Court will say, okay, I'm emboldened. The people are saying, yeah, it's okay. It's not a political consideration. I don't have to worry if I'm going to get unelected because I'm asking for a salary that is higher than my subordinate. It makes sense. No one goes into a job thinking that they're going to work. They're going to work hard, they're going to produce results, and they're going to get to be paid less than the people that report to them. Not sustainable. And let me tell you, it's not just me. It's the other positions. But it's important too. It's important for the future here. This place is growing like crazy. I don't know how long you've been in the county, each of you, but when I moved here 28 years ago, I like to say that I probably could have laid down and taken a nap on 287 and I would have been just fine. But that's not the way it is anymore. It is growing. There's construction everywhere. You see that. You see it in your neighborhoods. And that influx of people from Dallas, from Tarrant County, they're going to be living here, and it's going to create more burden, more responsibility on this county. We have to prepare for it, and in preparing for it, you need people in place that take this job seriously, that are preparing for the future, that are saying, I'm going to be thinking right now, 2 years ago, about the 14,000 lots that have been parceled and are going to be built in. 20 new subdivisions within the county, the unincorporated areas, more than that in the cities together. 14,000 new homes in Ellis County. That growth, every time we grow like that, and I've watched it for almost 8 years now, you have incredible challenges. You have to say, I have to staff this department or this other department better to be able to accommodate the needs. When you go in for a birth certificate, when you go in for your passport, when you come in for a case, you expect expeditious service. You have expectation. The people coming in will have expectation. And the person that is leading this organization needs to be able to respond to those changes, to those challenges. They need to be strong enough to be the voice for you here locally, at the regional, at the state, and at the federal level. I've demonstrated in almost 8 years that I have been that voice and that I have produced results. I have never come to the salary grievance committee before in the years that I've been here. We're in a position now, financially, that this is not a burden. To equalize my salary, to equalize it with the county courts of law, it's not a stretch. But I think it's a necessity for the future because we want qualified people in here. I think my background, as an attorney, it helps this county. I think my experiences as a mediator helps resolve problems. There are skills that you want in your county judge. I have been privileged to be here because I was able to make a difference, I think, in my own community, the place where I live. I could go work in Dallas, and they would probably pay better. But I'm here, And I'm here because I want to be here, because I am vested in this community. I'm not asking that you send me back to the Commissioner's Court with a salary of $216,000. I'd be thrilled if you did. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying, right the wrong that's in our structure right now, put me up there with the county courts of law judges. As the chief elected, I have given you the results. I have made some tough decisions. It's never fun, and you're never going to please anyone or everyone all the time. But I've met those challenges, and I'll continue to do that, whatever your decision is here today, because that's my commitment to this county. This time, I don't get to be the judge. You get to be the judge. Where do you think it should be? Is it the salary of the highest compensated employee of Ellis County? Or where is it? That's your choice. I have always tried to truly focus on the interests of the public. I tried to advocate for my employees here. I tried to look at every decision I make as a taxpayer, which I have been, which I am a contributor to this community. So I'm not asking you really to go through a process that I wouldn't go through myself. I like to think that you can be a girl and you can grow up, you can put yourself through school, you can work hard, and you can expect to earn what the males in this community earn. I don't wear my gender on my sleeve. I've never been one of those that have to say, do something for me because I'm a woman. So, I deserve it. I'm not an entitled person. That's never been what I've been about. But I am a person that believes in taking on challenges, producing results, and not being afraid to challenge the status quo and say it's time to make a change. So I'm asking you to equalize it or set it where you think the county judge position needs to be.
Do you happen to have an idea of what a comfortable position like in Johnson County is?
You will. A comparable position in Johnson County would pay similar a little to what mine is. It is. That's not unusual. The amount, that's why I said the 94,000, that's not horrible, but it's not some of the other counties. It's not the smaller county that pays their county judge $140,000. It's not Dallas County that pays its judge $185,000. Tarrant County, $175,000, $180,000. It's hard to compare that way because it has a lot to do with demographics and with the job responsibilities, and it doesn't take into account the different staffing levels that some other counties have. Dallas County, they have multiple subordinate positions that make more than I make. In our salary structure here internally, I have tried to raise the levels for our employees so that our hourly employees, they are competitive with the market. We have done that. In fact, there are many times when we're hired, the law enforcement is competitive. What happens when you start seeing the disparities and inequities is in the management positions within those organizations that they are not reaching their potential.
As far as the comparable job description, I think department manager, I have no idea.
City manager.
Not in city, but in private business.
In private business, I think this might be called CEO, but but this is a government organization. Anyway, I think you know where I'm coming from. I'm not asking for the moon. I'm asking for quality. We have to turn this over now, and we do have people that have signed up for public comment. And this is the way a public meeting works, just much like our commissioners' court meetings, that any item that is on the agenda, we have the ability to take comment from the public. As an open meeting that we publish notice of, anyone can step off the street. You'll see a gentleman in the back there filming me. So this is how public meetings work. The press can be here, people for or against, but this is the way. So we let public comment happen, and we'll start with the list that we have. Jim Pitts.
Thank y'all for letting me come today. It's always hard to follow such a class action like a judge with her, what she was telling me today. But I wanted to kind of tell you who I am and what I've been doing in the past. And I was your state representative for 22 years, and I retired about 2 years ago. For the last 10 years as state representative, I was in charge of the state's budget. And that was a $200 billion budget when I retired. It's more than that now. But one of the duties of the chairman of appropriations is to set salaries. And it's to set salaries of every agency in the state of Texas. And it's to set salaries for the district judges and the district attorneys. And it's always been a very big issue on setting these salaries because we wanted to pay what we thought was what was working and what they were qualified to do. But we also wanted to be responsible for the taxpayers' money that we were spending for that. We also wanted to make sure that we were having a salary for this position, so when the next person comes along to take that position, that person we can attract good quality people for the state of Texas to run our agency. When we were trying to understand what to do about the salaries for the district judges, that is one of our duties as the Texas legislature, is to set the salaries for the district judges. We heard from nearly everyone in the Supreme Court in the state of Texas, and they were concerned about the quality of the judges who were running, and they thought the main reason that we weren't getting quality judges and quality people to run our court system is because of salary. Probably every single district judge who is presiding over a trial is probably looking at lawyers, working with lawyers to make a whole lot more than that. So we need to attract quality people to sit in those courtrooms. The last session I was in charge of the budget. We did raise the salary. Now we may not have raised it up to the $200,000 that some of the judges or some of the Supreme Court judges told us that they would like us to do. But we were able to raise the salary. And I think that's really important. So you can attract quality people. Carol Bush is not going to be sitting in this seat forever, but we want to attract good people to take her place when she decides to retire. Let me kind of give you, I got some prepared remarks, and I'm going to bore you on all of it, but I've had the opportunity as chairman of appropriations to meet a lot of different county judges, county administrators throughout the state of Texas. And you know, I was always so proud of when Carol Bush, and I served with probably 2 or 3 other county judges here in Ellis County before Carol came, because I was in the legislature for so long. But I was so proud when I was able to introduce Carol Bush to members of the legislature, members of the committee that I served as chairman. because of her eloquence and her knowledge, and she was so well prepared for whatever she was in this, coming to the state of Texas for. Whenever there was an issue involving the county of Ellis and its citizens, Carol Bush was there. You know, Carol Bush came to me and said, Jim, there is a dam in Ellis County that the state is telling us if we don't fix it, Midlothian could be underwater. And with Carol's help and testimony, she came to the legislature to ask for money to fix that bridge to protect the people from Midlothian and your property. And we fixed that, but that bridge, I think, is still under construction. But when we needed transportation dollars for Ennis, Carol Bush was there to try to get dollars to finish the bypass around Ennis. When we needed traffic was so bad on Interstate 35, Carol Bush was there to add a lane on the side of Interstate 35. I know she has gone through all of these items that she has told you about today that she has done for Ellis County. But I'm going to tell you that she wasn't exaggerating. She was telling you, probably was not exactly telling everything you do, you know, that she's been a wonderful county judge, and we want to attract other people like Carol for that position and all of the positions in Ellis County. It is your job, like it was my job when I was chairman of appropriations, to set salaries for state agency head and for district judges. It is your job to set this salary for these county officials. And I ask you to consider not just the personality that we have here that's sitting here in front of you today, but anybody else in this room, one day, if they wanted to be county judge, you have to look at this if you have a living right wage. $90,000 is a living wage, but is it a wage comparable to the responsibilities of other officials, not only in Ellis County, but Midlothian, Waxahachie, Red Oak, and other places? So I ask you, I'm here to support the application of Carol Bush. Yes, sir.
That's a good question. As somebody that has set salaries or been responsible to help set salaries, is there an income range that you would recommend?
Well, I think what we would look at and say, the salary of, I'm trying to like Texas Association, Texas TABC, the Alcohol and Beverage Commission. We would look, number one, how many employees they have, what their budget is, their length of service, and really we put different agencies in kind of a category about and important, and that's how we set the salary. If we would look, and it's not unusual because the legislature has to set the salary of certain officers or certain heads of agencies and district judges that we would see so many times that the head of the agency has people working underneath them. There's deputies that make higher salaries. And we try to make sure to correct that. Whenever that each agency would also have to come to the state of Texas and ask for the budget to set the salary of their other employees. So we would be setting the salaries basically of every employee in that agency. But we always try to keep the administrator, the head of the agency, at a higher level so we can attract them. Because, people come and go, people retire, and why would a deputy want to take over the head job if the salary is lower? And so that was our position. Any questions? I had a lot of other things to say, but I think I'll leave it with that. Thank you.
Next is Kevin String.
Good morning. I'm Kevin String. I'm the mayor of City of Texas. I'm here today to support you. County Judge, because I see this every day at City Hall. We as a council have to vote on salaries, and we know what the demand is for good people, and we want to keep good people because we have to grow in communities. Everybody can see around how things are going and at the rate we're going. And we want to grow and be one of the best counties in the state of Texas. Cities and be the best counties and part of our property. People like Carol is doing and when we're looking at what we can command in personnel, I give you an example. The head of the Chamber of Commerce in Walter Texas makes $120,000. Chamber of Commerce. In order to get a good person, they had raised the salary from $90,000 to $120,000. And then we're more from him than we're getting. And so when you talk about the head of county government and all the employees in the government making $93,000 and our city manager making $195,000, it's really almost embarrassing to you as a citizen of the county that the salaries are so low for our employees. And I know nobody wants to pay more taxes than they have to. We also have a lot of growth in this county. And I think the salary should be looked at. We look at ours every year. Every 2 or 3 years, we do salary surveys for people that work in the city. And we look around and see that are around to see if we're still on mark. So we don't get behind, because when we do get this far behind, like the judge was saying, when you let everybody get behind, that's a big chunk of money to get everybody up. So you kind of have to keep it going as you go along. I think it's very important to do that. We pay our people well, and we get good people. And I don't think anybody in this room can argue if we don't have great people at the City Hall. And so I'm in here in support of this. I think that Carol is doing a fine job. I think that in the future, judge that comes behind her would, in order to get more near to Carol, need that family. And so I'm here to support that. Any questions from you guys?
Bill Dawson.
Excuse me. I'm Bill Dawson. I was county commissioner from 2007 to 2014. I was on commissioner's work when we appointed Carol. I worked with her 6 years. I know her work ethics, I know how hard she works. And I think you asked how much is CEO, or I know an operations manager here in town just recently retired. He was making $192,000. County officials are underpaid if you start looking at the private sector. I was in the private sector 37 years. Retired and ran for county commissioner then. And the main reason I ran for county commissioner then, I didn't want to start traveling. And I was making more money when I was private sector than I was after I was county commissioner. It was nice, gave me something to do, and I enjoyed it. But all the things Carol told you about how busy she is in Austin, Cobb, here locally, I can verify those things. Everything I heard her say is factual. I did not hear her say anything that I could disagree with. In one area, I tell her this, I'll tell Lane Tracy, because he's county commissioner now. We need to have a chief financial officer or budget officer to help elected officials build a budget that's based on history and based on need. You go into office, most people, I was very fortunate, I went into office, I've been on the school board 9 years. I had over 15 years as finished products manager out here at St. Cobain. I'd look at budgets bigger than what the county was. And you go into office and you haven't had that experience. It's very difficult to understand a budget, to read a budget. I cannot tell you what they judge. I understand being an elected official and having the newspapers, all the articles they write about you if you want to raise the budget or if you want to raise the salaries of individuals. It's a difficult situation to be in. I'm old enough now, and I'm not retired, I'm not a county employee, I can say, do what I want to, and y'all will take that. Thank you.
Harlan Pepper? Sarah, you right? It's all the way over there. It's on the course of review. I wanted to come to speak to this. I've worked for the county for 7 years. And I just think Judge Bush is an incredible person. She has a lot of responsibility. She knows every employee's name. She knows their families. She puts up with a lot ever since she came to the county. It's very political, and it's not Democrats against Republicans, it's Republicans against Republicans. It's a very difficult situation for me. And I've seen more newspaper articles that really don't help her. And I've just seen her with a difficult position. And I know that I've worked out for a good many things. And I also was the founder of the Wealth Management Company. And 19 years ago when I did that, the woman directly had and she was to be excited. I hope you'll consider her job situation on what she handles on a daily basis for each employee. I recently had cancer, and she should have a lot. And this is a person who cares about her community, who really takes the time to know her employees, and unfortunately has had people come against her in situations where it's just part of her job, she would say. And I just want to say that I just stand for her. She fights for us. I hope that you consider that issue. James Lawrence.
My name is James Parks, and I'm here to support this request for that question. For the record, I was raised in Roanoke, Texas, living in Montana. I'm not a personal friend of Judge Bush, nor only as Ellis County Judge. Over the last 2.5 years, I have attended all but about 3 meetings of Commissioner's Court. I have seen her act in her official capacity as Director of Emergency Operations in Ellis County at a news conference after a tornado had just ripped through Ellis County. I've seen her many times preside over regular Commissioner Court meetings in her capacity as County Judge regarding matters related to purchasing, development, human resources, and other administrative duties, as well as acting in her official capacity as the Chief Budget Officer of Ellis County in budget workshops, working with commissioners to approve a budget and set a tax rate. While all of the judge's responsibilities are important, I would like to point out the county's financial success under her leadership as Chief Budget Officer. In her capacity as Chief Budget Officer, and I agree with Mr. Dodson, that ought to be CFO, Chief Financial Officer. But as Chief Budget Officer, she has been able to put the revenues and expenses together while working with all department heads, including elected officials, to accomplish what is in the best interest of the Ellis County taxpayer, and at the same time providing necessary services and resources that continue improving the quality of life in Ellis County. I have sat in on the last 3 budget workshops, 2014, 2015, and now 2016. And there have been times when Judge Bush and commissioners have had to make hard decisions regarding spending in order to protect the financial integrity of our county. Judge Bush has been the driving force in putting Ellis County in a solid financial position. I can say this with confidence because of Ellis County's current bond rating and financial outlook released in January of this year, 8 or 9 months ago. In January 2016, Fitch, a major financial rating agency, issued a solid AA bond rating for Ellis County and a financial outlook of stable. This goes with a tax rate that has stayed the same for 6 years. Take a look. It's the lowest of low tax rates for counties in this area that are comparable to us in size. As a taxpayer and resident of Ellis County, this is very assuring. While many people have contributed to this, it has been Judge Bush who, as the Chief Budget Officer, has been the leader in achieving these results. For the record, Ellis County's annual budget is approximately $60 billion. Judge Bush is a great communicator, a people person, a person that respects all people, and in my opinion, Judge Bush is a person of conviction, always putting principle above politics. Whether it's Judge Bush or someone else, responsibilities of this job warrant compensation more in line with other chief executives with similar responsibilities. And I thank you.
Sarah, you have something? You have some letters that came in.
So that's it. I have 3 letters that were submitted for the salary grievance committee in support of Judge Bush. And I'll start with the first one, which is from former Mayor Russell Thomas. It says, to the salary review committee, subject, County Judge Bush girl salary increase here. Ladies and gentlemen of the salary review committee, please find this as a formal endorsement that our county judge should be compensated commensurate with our own county court at law judges, with other county judges in the counties located north of Ellis County, from which the populace is relocated to Ellis County at a great rate. Our county judge serves as a county manager overseeing transportation issues, indigent care needs, budgetary planning, economic development, long-term urban planning for the county code enforcement, county fire response, asset management for the county, oversight of engineering, and architectural services, and multiple other duties too lengthy to elaborate upon. This request for a salary increase is not just about rewarding Judge Bush for the fine job that she has performed, but more importantly, setting the stage for future county judge administrators. We must attract the best of the best to run our county, and salary is a vital component to enticing strong, competent persons that may be career individuals to seek office to lead this great county. It is necessary to compensate them in such a way that their bottom line is not adversely impacted while serving the fine citizens of Ellis County. We must bring Ellis County to the 21st century and recognize that we in Ellis County must have talented professional leaders in place to meet the needs of an ever-increasing population. Signed, Russell Thomas. Loving Joe. I meant to bring my stool with me. Yes. Second one, this one is from Robert J. Lynn, or Bob Lynn, to the Salary Grievance Committee. Over the years, I have attended meetings at 7 a.m. at which Judge Bush was representing numerous Ellis County and others that did not disperse until 10 p.m. at night. Numerous people have commented on the long hours Ms. Bush invested in her job. Conservatively, I would calculate she devotes in excess of 70 hours per week serving the county and her constituents. At Judge Bush's current salary divided by the 3,640 hours per year, 70 hours per week times 52 weeks. I estimate she spends working on behalf of Ellis County. She'd make about $25 per hour in salary, or an estimated $52,000 per year if she worked a 40-hour week. Let's put that in perspective of the function she provides for Ellis County. Chief Budget Officer. Most bookkeepers and banks make more. Health and Safety. A second Waxahachie police officer makes more. Fire Marshal. A Waxahachie firefighter in his second year makes more. Employee benefits. Those that work in HR as facilitators make more. Law Library. Carol Bush has her law degree and presided as judge. Attorney and judges make more than $52,000 per year. Transportation. A Walmart truck driver averages $73,000 per year. Economic Development. The Director of Economic Development for the city of Waxahachie makes more than double Judge Bush's real time, $25 per hour. The responsibilities listed above are just a few of the job in Judge Bush's portfolio of duties. It should be obvious that her real-time compensation should be considerably more. The numbers and hours speak for themselves. I respectfully recommend that your committee increasing Judge Bush's total salary to reflect the responsibilities that she coordinates in a professional and timely manner. Respectfully, Robert J. Lynn. The third letter that was received is from Mike Ramsey to the Salary Grievance Committee. It is my pleasure to offer this letter in support of Judge Carol Bush and her efforts to more fairly align her compensation with the level of responsibility she holds as Ellis County Judge. Judge Bush's current annual compensation of $94,835 is the lowest level of compensation of the 30 elected and non-elected officials of Ellis County. See attachment 4. A review of Judge Bush's areas of responsibility include Chief Budget Officer for all 37 Ellis County government, both elected and non-elected, Transportation, Economic Development, Health and Safety, Head of Emergency Management, HR, Veteran Services, Fire Marshal, Indigent Care, Law Library, Employee Benefits, Presiding Officer of the Commissioner's Court, County Representative to North Texas Council of Government, and Cobb Regional Transportation Council. In the recent past, I had an opportunity to work closely with Judge Bush on the Waxahachie Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Council, of which I was chairman. Judge Bush is a valuable contributor to the success of our council, especially in the knowledge and respect she has gained through Cobb and her service to Ellis County. Judge Bush is a valuable asset for Waxahachie and all of Ellis County and should be appropriately compensated for her outstanding performance. Accordingly, it is my belief that a compensation level of at least $150,000 per year is clearly warranted in view of all of evidence of Judge Bush's responsibilities and performance. My parentheses, respectfully submitted, citizen of Ellis County for 4 years. That's all I have.
All right, Mike Cadero.
Pop my package right there, we'll take that. Good morning, I'm Michael Barr, I'm your county auditor. I appreciate y'all taking time out of your day to day to come participate in the county process.
A lot of people won't do that, so I do appreciate that. Let me first start by telling you why I'm not here. County judge basically has no discretion over my office. My salary is not tied to her. She doesn't even get a vote in my salary or my budget. So basically, I'm not here to get any sort of favor or money or anything else. I believe that pay for any person should be based on three criteria: responsibility, performance, and their qualifications. I had a number of different things I was going to address about responsibility, but I think that's already been laid out to you, so I don't want to waste your time on going over that again. I will tell you that a gentleman here asked what her comparable position would be with another organization. In my opinion, it would be Chief Executive Officer. I can tell you that Ms. Bush represents the county well with outside agencies. I deal with a number of them myself: federal government, FEMA, Juvenile Probation Commission. Carol represents us with the legislature. When employees have problems with other elected officials or in their own office, she becomes a sounding board for that. They come into her office. Quite often they come into my office because they don't feel necessarily that they can go to their own official. So she has to use that when the other time comes up in setting department budgets and working to determine where the resources go. She has a difficult job, and that it's an impossible standard to please everyone. Our county is fiscally sound. We have a AA bond rating. Carol and I participate when we meet with the Pitch, a rating agency. She handles herself very well in those meetings. We currently have several employees around the county that actually make more than the county judge. And in my opinion, it should not be that way. As far as the market in this area, I can tell you, I'm a law student myself, a third-year law student. New attorneys coming fresh out of law school, if you're a talented attorney, you can go to work immediately in Dallas and make $164K. That's just the market price. I've seen some criticism that she brought a grievance to the people. Her other avenue is to basically put it in the budget and take it to Commissioner's Court to vote. And then she would get hammered basically for bypassing the people and having bureaucrats vote on her rate. So she took the choice to come straight to the people, which is unite individuals. One thing I think we all realize when we have public office is we have to make difficult choices, things that aren't going to make us the most popular person in the room, but we have to make those choices anyway because we believe it's the best thing to do. I've seen that a measure of a politician is not whether they get numerous Facebook likes, it's not whether they get letters to the editor and their approval. That's measured at the ballot box. And I can tell you, as far as the ballot box, the people in this community have spoken, and twice they've elected her your county judge. So, do you have any questions I can entertain?
And then lastly, Bruce Shepherd.
Good morning. I come here from land far away, McKinney, Texas. I'm the elections administrator in Collin County. As an elections administrator, I'm overall the voter registration, the polling places, the voting equipment, A to Z, everything elections. So you know right now I'm a little busy. So I felt this was important enough to come no matter what, how busy I was. But I've been the Collin County Elections Administrator for probably 10 months now. 2 years before that, I was the Ellis County Elections Administrator. And then 25 years before that, I was the Dallas County Elections Administrator. administrator. I retired in 2011 from Dallas County. So I just wanted to tell you today why I thought it was important for me to be here. The county judge position is the most hands-on position I deal with because she's over the Commissioner's Court presiding officer. She is also on the Elections Commission. She's the chair of that appoints this position. She serves with me on the Elections Board, which decides equipment, supplies, appointments. So it's a very, very personal situation that persons in my position have with the county judge. And I've worked for probably 6 or 7 county judges. One of them, Frank Crowley, courthouse administrator. Carol Bush is one of the finest county judges I've ever worked with. One of the hardest working county judges I've ever worked with. She doesn't just do what other county judges I've worked for do. She is also the city manager type position, or what we call the county administrator. In my county, in Collin County right now, the county administrator makes over $230,000. County judge makes probably, I don't know, maybe $150,000 or more $1,000. Carol's position does all of that. She called me back in 2013, I think it was October. I was retired, asked me if I'd want to come help him because my predecessor was retiring. And so I drove all the way from Richardson out here, and it took me over an hour. We had a nice meeting, and I said, thank you for considering me, but I don't think I want this job because it's just too far. And then so I go home, I'm living happily, and then she calls again a month later. She says, please come back again, we really could use you in Ellis County. So I came back again, and I accepted it to help just get through the primaries. I fell in love with this county, and I fell in love with this county because of the leadership that Judge Bush showed me. She gave me an opportunity to completely change out the voter registration system, which was really at its end of life. She gave me an opportunity to make changes. She did everything that an elections administrator would want their county judge to do, and that is to have a vision and see where the county needed to go. I stayed for 2 years. I turned down in that 2-year period, Tarrant County had offered me $40,000 more to go and be the administrator there. And the only reason I left this county was because I live in Richardson, my wife has a business there, and I was driving for 2 years over an hour and a half each side. That's how much I love this county. That's how much I believe in Judge Bush and her capabilities and her leadership. But I can tell you right now, I left making more money than she was making. And I left to make $30,000 more going to Collin County. She is underpaid. She works very hard. And it's not just for the person, it's for the position. And Mr. Pitt said it right. If we want to recruit in the future, you have to pay for the type of person that you want to bring into these counties. So I'm here today, and I'll probably go back and start proving ballots for the craziest election I've ever seen. But I did feel compelled to come here today and do my testimony.
That concludes the public participation, and now the job is yours. So you get through the judge, and you determine what the salary is supposed to be, what the position is. And I'm going to leave it in your hands. I'm not a voting member, as I said at the beginning. I just chair the committee. And we're going to let the process take its course. Is there someone that would volunteer to kind of marshal it a bit? If you have discussion among yourselves? Are you comfortable with that? Would you tell me your name, please? Robert. Okay. So if that's agreeable to everyone, then we can have discussion. And I don't know if you need a break, but we can be out here as soon as you have a decision to give to me. So take your time and let me know when you're ready. It's further awkward because it is a public meeting. It's not like a room, a jury deliberating room, and we have the freedom to talk however openly you wanted to, or to draw pictures or whatever. But, or to complain about how long we've been in here. But it is a public meeting, so it'll happen out here. I'm available, but I'm going to step away for just a moment and let you have some discussion. And you tell me when you're ready to move forward.
Let me get a question.
Yes,
The charts aren't paid properly on yet. The small sheet says 2016 county salary. Says your salary is $89,390. And then this sheet says 2016 salary. And it says.
Oh, I'm sorry. It should have been for the 2016, 2017 budget.
So
So
this
it's
is
the proposed. Correct. So my salary
When does
has.
the budget take place?
We will vote on it on Tuesday, upcoming Tuesday. That's why the Salary Grievance Committee had to meet, and I know it's a fast timeline, and it doesn't really accommodate people's schedules very well, but that's the code for you. Because once you publish your budget, you have so many days, and you set the salaries, you have so many days for a person to notify, actually me, that they will be requesting a committee meeting with the Salary Grievance Committee. And then you have to get to your budget within 30 days of having actually posted. So it's a very compressed time frame, but Tuesday will be the day that the budgets will be passed. Anything that is done today, changes you make, will then go to the budget and we'll make it for the Tuesday hearing.
Okay, so this 2016-17 proposed budget.
That's the 3%.
This is 3%.
That's the 3% increase that was.
So $5,444.
Yes, that's what was proposed for the entire.
Every employee is 3%.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there are some, like I said, law enforcement in patrol and courthouse security. Some individual offices like that.
Dispatch.
Received some extra compensation, as did dispatch, because of the necessity for the public safety. And we were low on dispatchers, we were having difficulty getting more, so we wanted to raise the compensation to attract some young employees. But yes, the general rule is that 3% was across the board.
Can I have some more questions? What did y'all's health insurance go up in percentage-wise?
It went up about, like the actual figure, we have it.
Yeah, I believe it was about 5.2, 5.3%.
So you went up
5%.
Of the premium, is that correct?
over 5%?
With a cost that
So
we
we're
have to
50% upside down there.
Well, no, the cost to the employees receive their premium is paid. They pay into a portion of it. They always carry the increases. So my insurance, yes, county picks up some of it, and then I pay into it as well. So across the board, that's the way it's
Well, another question. What do you get in the way of car allowance, any other type of amenities?
like emergency management, fire marshal, the commissioners, and officers. I have a vehicle that I drive to and from work,
County vehicle?
a county vehicle, that is not personal vehicle. I don't use it for personal. It is meant to be for my duties while I'm on duty as county judge. If I get called out in the middle of the night, I use my county vehicle. Otherwise, I drive it to work and come home. It's like law enforcement or some of the other, like engineer is in the same position with the vehicle, because if it's flooding, we have a bridge that goes out. If they're at their home, we want them to be able to go directly to there. Anything else I can answer? And you're welcome to ask me questions. Email me. And again, does anyone need a break? The restrooms are right across the hall.
Does anybody feel that the salary that she's making right now is fair? No. that would be over the highest ones of the board. At some point, I don't know how we figure out what that is. But you should be at least, from the county salary, should at least be that level. Yeah, I was trying to think of private jobs, project managers, CFOs, CEO, it's kind of this job is sort of wraps all of those positions together. Right.
Position and what it requires, maybe, but not.
Not to move forward, but she's not in a position. Probably want somebody to come in, it's just as good. Right.
Maybe call them an auditor. If she didn't get home, they wouldn't call out.
No one using the cheater about that. So the other thing, this one was this year, right? So the people that have this next year, they make 150 more.
Yeah, that's the proposed for 2017.
Looking the superintendent side now, you are competing against other school districts a little bit more. What about the seniors? What other schools so the city manager makes more than the city versus who the county. I think that's superintendent something to do.
You have to find
For the 190 and 190. Right. But it's still less than the population of the city. I can see just only superintendents are different.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not, but that's just. Yeah, I think that's the school district deciding what they're gonna pay for your car. You can do something different than that. Right, yeah. Or bonus.
My rate has been from 155 to 200. So. I'm getting a little bit there.
I think that's a really good thing. Change up rate before we, right?
So the figure we come up with, and then they go, or are they Tuesday on this or 3%?
It goes to down, so whatever the system is down.
I still do a little bit more research on what a position like this is. Yeah, I already do that kind of research. I think it goes to the jobs on Monty.com.
No, but here's the other thing, though. All of these positions, I mean, these are just labels, you don't know, I have no clue how much you did. I mean, you know, but you know, you're building, so all these other people can do that, because my position that I hold in another company is entirely different. It's not always apples to apples. I don't know what all these other people do. So I agree that you have out there, comparable view of the I was just looking out for one. Can you do this for me?
$3,640 hours. If you paid it 25 hours, $25 an hour, yeah.
Let's look at some, we get money for that, right? So, what about considering a percentage over what the other judges are paid? You know, I would think that if you're putting a salary at 190, then that's going to be an extremely competitive position for all the judges. Does it need to be that high? That it says in the previous 10% lower than the only other one judge?
What is the salary of the county court at all judges?
Yeah, if you have questions, I'll get the judge. I'll get the chair.
Okay.
Where'd you calculate? Okay. Or I guess whatever it's going to be under the 3%.
Yes, and I'm sure they want it. Not only Wednesday, Friday, because I know they're going to do what else are they,
They are responsible for, Jim Chapman.
Thank you.
Well, all the judges, they hear the cases that are on the docket. That is their chief responsibility. They have some, they have administrative, kind of an oversight of the juvenile board. Because juvenile probation is actually a state organization. I serve on the Texas Juvenile Justice Board at the state level, but every single county has a juvenile justice department. And so it's the all of us will sit on a board to make sure that the probation department is compliant with the rules and regulations, policies of the state juvenile board. Other than that, there are no more functions. None of the judges perform any other function than there are those related to their court. District judges that are paid by the state, that I made that distinction earlier, supervise Mike Navarro's office as auditor, because they try to keep auditing completely separate, so the money isn't involved with any kind of politics on the side, or with the change of elected officials and there being some sort of discontinuity in the operations of the organization. So that's why the auditor is separate and outside the scope of or under the purview of the district judges. But county courts at law, they have no other job duties.
As if you look at their docket, for example, they're responsible for, how does your docket compare to theirs?
The jurisdiction is the same as the county courts at law. The docket, if I do things, it's more of a magistrate function. I'm not doing civil and criminal law. Mine, this is why it's almost a misnomer for county judge. I can do that and have done things. This is the administrative portion of the job, and there's no administration attached to the other court. Does that make sense? Welcome to Call Me Back if you need me.
All right. I would tend to look at this as what is the premium on this compared to judge? Is it 10% premium that you would pay someone that will basically have access around the clock for emergency, things like that, to 15 or 20%? And then at 180, that's about a 18-20% premium compared to what we're paying or what the county judge is paying. Does that make sense? Is it worth that? Or is I personally think it's probably between 10 and 15% premium when you pay someone for those extra responsibilities. At 10% at the salary, based off of 151.89 at 13.67 at 15% premium at 174. The other thing to consider here is this is public money, so no doubt that she could get into the probably a lot more money. And that's not a good reason to vouch her. But also got to also find out how many citizens. What's that? So what do you think that would, what would that take to attract the candidate to recognize what he was planning.
Why would they?
Well, 25,000 more than what the villagers and she's on call. So is this like, or is it
It has to be 6 of 9. He originally got the letter, there were sheets, there were sheets on the back. There were sheets on the back that talked about it was 6 of 9 or 9 of 9.
Let's do this. Once it's about it, so
And so, I mean, so on comparable to, middle of ISD, some of the city managers and some it's a little less, but we're trying to
how many of us believe that it should be 165 or higher? Who believes it should be 165 or higher? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So, so after the hearing, if 6 or more of the members vote to recommend the increase, the committee shall submit its recommendation to the Commissioners Court in writing. If 6 to 8 members vote to recommend the increase, the Commissioners Court shall consider the recommendation at its next meeting. If 9 members vote to recommend the increase and sign the recommendation, the Commissioners Court shall include the increase in the budget before the budget is filed and the increase takes effect in the next season.
If it's nine, it's all nine of them. If it's nine, it's all together. If it's not, then they would go together.
Does anybody think it should be less than 165? I don't know either. I kind of think 165 is a 10% premium over everybody else in the county. And I think, this is just my thoughts, I don't want to start like roofing, but I think that if you put that amount so far above everybody else, it just doesn't make sense. But if there's 6 people that agree that it should be more like 180, then we would sign off on that and we would go to a vote, right?
At 167.
10% above the other judges would be 167.78. I don't think 200,000 is reasonable looking at the income of the rest of the people. We'll close the gap like 5% up.
Oh, above the one. Above the 143, the 2016 or the proposed 2017. Their proposed is a 3% increase, puts everybody. Yeah, they're 151.
That's more than a 3% increase.
Ellis could be at least comparable.
comparable.
I think all of us would want to at least there, if not higher. So again, what we're talking about is a premium. Yeah. About
I like to visit.
10, 10, 5. I think I'm on 30%. All right. Is there anybody that would not vote for 165? They needs to be higher. All right, is there anyone that would vote no for 165 because they think the amount should be higher? Or would we all agree on 165? Would you guys pull the 167 to give a little bit to those that?
I just said one that's about to be around the number. Oddball number.
And I mean, once it's about that, it's, we have 7,000 anchors.
All right, well, let's vote on that. 165? You got one?
Are you ready to get the vote? We're done.
They voted.
Is there a premium above the county court judges that represents the extra vote that the county judge does? And so we would like to vote unanimously to increase to 165.
I'm honored. I'm honored. I don't know how to thank you for your service today. So in terms of what brings us back to, that's everybody's decision. I'm going to ask you again, I'll circulate this, and if you would sign off on this, it's tremendous. I just want to thank you. I'm floored. I appreciate you recognizing the value, and I wanted to reiterate the commitment I made when I took this job. I will continue to serve this community and to make decisions in the best interest of the entire community. Thank you so much for your service.